Hello and welcome to the McDuffie Minute Podcast, where McDuffie County residents can find out important information about the governments of McDuffie County, Thompson, Deering, the school system, and all points between. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Smith.
And I'm Christopher Wells. On this episode, we're joined by a good friend of the podcast, longtime Deering Mayor Sean Kelley. He will be filling us in on all the activities and projects taking place in the town of Deering. Thank you for joining us today, Mayor Kelley.
Well, I appreciate y'all finally having me. I think I pestered Jason months ago. I really thought I was going to be the first guest, but, you know, I guess I see where I fall with y'all now. So anyway.
We had to prioritize.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But no, thank y'all for having me.
So, you know, Sean, we've known each other for years, but some of our listeners may not. So tell us a little bit about yourself, just by way of introduction, how you became mayor of your hometown, your business, a little bit about you.
Okay, well, born and raised right here in McDuffie County. I was one of the last babies born at the McDuffie County Hospital back in 1968. Lived here my whole life, went to school in Deering Elementary, went to Norris, Thompson High School graduate in 1986. Been here, started my business in 94, been here since then. And, you know, funny story, you got to really watch how you choose your friends. The way I became mayor was, we were all hanging out down at it was a Deering Cafe at the time. And, we had a bunch of us, we eat there all the time. And, you know, you sit around and news came out that Ralph, my niece, was not going to run again, and they were all, "Oh, you should run. You'd make a good mayor." And this went on for, I don't know, a couple of months. And finally, I don't know what happened. I gave in and went up to the elections office during qualifying. And, you know, it's pretty expensive if you want to run for mayor in Deering. It was $1. And anyway, I scrounged up $1 and I went to put it in and kind of just forgot about it. And I remember I walked my daughter into kindergarten up at Deering Elementary, and Miss Gillum at the time, when I walked in the door, she says, "Hey, I hear congratulations are in order." And I was like, what is she talking about? You know, because I mean, it just started a business. I think we had not just started business, been running for a while, but I think we had won Small Business of the Year and had a few other things going on. I said, what? I said, what's congratulations for? She says, "I hear you're the new mayor." I really sincerely thought at that moment that I might pass out. I could feel all the blood leave me. I was like, oh my God. It turned out that, I was the only fool that signed up. So here I am 18 years later, still the only fool here. So it was a pretty good story, but that's how I became mayor. And it's been you know, I never sat on city council, been to very few meetings, didn't really know much about anything. And just, you know, I've learned trial by fire, but you know, I'm one of those, I like to think of myself as the normal guy. Was like a lot of people nowadays, you know, they always think all the politicians are, you know, they're always up to something, looking out for the good of themselves rather than the good of the community. But I mean, I'm the average guy. You know, I don't know what else to say. I try to run the town like I think it needs to be run and try to do the best for everybody. And, you know, sometimes there's going to be a few that not on the happy side, but that's just life when you're dealing with trying to do the thing that's best for the most. So that's kind of the way we've been running it, and we've had a great city council. Our city councilman, you know, I get a lot of the credit, but the credit is not due to me. It's the city council. We all get along, and you know, we all want the same thing. Sometimes we might want to go a little bit of different direction to get there, but in the end, we all want the same thing. We get along, and we really do try to do what's best for the town.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different activities that have popped up in Deering that, you know, that used to not be that sort of thing. So thank you for getting involved, doing that sort of thing. And I know the farmers markets that have been out in front of the old school. Can you tell us a little bit about how those went? Did you get a lot of participation, both from the vendors and the public, and just, you know, how it came about that those started?
Sure. Actually, the farmers market actually started 2 years ago. And it was the American Heart Association, I think, on the first go-round that was the one kind of organizer. The town itself really doesn't do a whole lot but provide some volunteer work and give them a facility to hold the farmers market. And that one was, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't great or nothing. And then Augusta Locally Grown approached us after that and said that they wanted to come do it. Well, when you're dealing with them, you're getting a whole different ball game. This is what they do. They do several of these throughout the CSRA, including the big ones down at the Riverwalk, and I think there's one on Laney Walker or somewhere. So they're used to doing them. They have a good network of farmers. And anyway, we talked to them and got it worked out. And by doing it through them, not only are you getting their experience, but they're also able to double the SNAP benefits. And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize. And I don't think we really had quite as many customers using the SNAP benefits as what we had initially wanted. And we're going to try to do a little bit better job this year of marketing and explaining that, because a lot of people just didn't understand it if they did want to use them, they didn't understand it. But essentially, you're getting free money if you have SNAP. So it's a big deal. But the overall, we've had a follow-up with them since then. They were thrilled with the numbers. It's been one of their best opening markets they've ever had. I think we averaged over 180 visitors.
Wow. Yeah. So
it was very successful, and they were thrilled with it, and as well as we were. So the plan is they're coming back next year, and we look to have it a little bit more built up this time, even to the point, I think in February, they are going to come offer a class in Deering to the local farmers. A lot of people don't understand when you get involved with the farmers market how you actually have to sell to them. And there's, like everything, you know, all these hoops. I hate to call it all these hoops, but there's some hoops that you have to jump through as far as how to sell them. And the insurance is the biggest thing. But they're going to provide a free class to anybody in the area that's interested in trying to sell, and also help you figure out how to get your insurance and everything done. So we're very pleased with them, and the support we're getting from them is fantastic. Great organization.
So, Sean, I know from working with you on this that there was something different about your farmers market here. It was the schedule. While most farmers markets operate just kind of during the summer, so to speak, yours had a little bit different schedule. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we tried to extend it, try to get it going a little bit earlier, and try to run it a little bit later just to give some opportunity for some different stuff. You know, so vegetables is one of those things, is some of it comes in early and some of it comes. So we tried to do the best to mix it to where everybody had opportunity. So like the early growers could get some stuff in, and same thing with the later growers. And, you know, this year the weather wasn't as nice as it could have been to some. So the spring went real well. You know, it quit raining there toward the end of the season. So the fall didn't turn out quite as well as we'd hoped, because, you know, you should be getting a lot of collards and turnip greens and sweet potatoes and that type of stuff. But you know, the weather just didn't cooperate. So we didn't get quite as much as that as we wanted, but the plan is to keep on working towards that. And that was one thing we were trying to do to make ours just a little bit different, because when you're competing with those big markets, and there's not that many farmers right now that deal with them. So if they have their rathers, they're going to go to the bigger market that's getting, you know, thousands of people coming through, rather than the ones like ours. But still, at 180 on the opening year, you know, they were very happy with that average, very happy.
That's great. To that end, one of the things that you and I have worked together on lately is through Archway, which is our partnership with the University of Georgia. We met with some students who wanted to come and build a new pavilion for your farmers market. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're lucky enough in Deering that we have a great walking track and a great facility to have a farmer's market when it's outside. But we also have the gym, which is right there at the facility. And I think we had 2 times it actually rained and we had to go inside. And even though you can't see it from the roadway, you know, anytime you're riding down the road, you see something big going on, you feel more inclined to pull in. Even though we had them in the gym, I think one of the highest turnouts we had was when we were in the gym. So that just kind of got my brain to spinning. And, you know, Sarah, our new Archway professional, she's going to call you and call you and call you. You have any projects? And, you know, I don't know. Something just clicked in my head one day and said, you know what? I think I have a project. So she came over and brought a student with us, and we walked the facility and we looked around and told her what I had envisioned. And it's basically like the freestyle barn at the dairy, if y'all been there before. An open, gabled, long, narrow building. We're looking at right now, the initial plans are 40 by 100. concrete slab floor. We will provide an 8-foot wide sidewalk, paved sidewalk for anybody and everybody to be able to get into the farmer's market and get around through there. And we will be aligning it east to west to take advantage of the prevailing winds to try to keep the air flowing through it. And we're building the building to be made so that if the farmer's market goes well, we can come back and add on to it if we have to. And then when it's not being used for a farmer's market, we can use it for, you know, birthday parties. The walking track has somebody over there all of the time. There's always birthday parties going on. And, you know, it's great in the spring and the fall, but in the summertime when it's roasting hot, you know, at least then you'd have somewhere to go get out of the sun and have a nice place. And then maybe, you know, maybe we could have some movies outside or, you know, just use it for whatever. We met with Archway this week. They provided the final plan. We've asked them to go back and get us some engineering costs so we can go look for funding for it.
There's plenty of opportunities to bring the community together.
And that's everything we're doing. Everything that we're doing back. I had the vision back before COVID started that I wanted to start an events committee. And, you know, COVID came along, and then the next thing you know, this is going on, and things, as I get, the one bad thing about me being mayor and having a full-time business is sometimes, you know, I'm going to have to feed my family first, and then I try to do my best to take care of the city. Well, the events committee finally surfaced back up, and with the addition of our assistant clerk, we had a little bit of manpower for somebody to get something done, and she has taken off and run with that. So now we have a events committee. We meet every month, and I know a lot of people came out for our very first event. I say it's our very first. She's probably going to come slap me when I get it wrong. I can't remember if it was the art show or the tractor show, but the Tractors on the Track was the first really big thing that we did, and it was a huge success. I think we had 31 or 33 tractors over there, and we had 4 or 5 food vendors, and we had a great time. A bunch of people came out, and a bunch of people stayed for a long time. The events committee is really now what's driving everything. City council, we all have things going on. And not just that, though. My goal is to try to get people involved. You know, you always hear people wanting to do stuff and asking to do stuff. So we're asking them, okay, if you want to do it, let's do it. Let's come out, be a part of it, and let's be involved. It's not up to city council to do these events. It's, you know, if the public wants it, then the public needs to come help us put it on. We've had very good response out of it. We've had an art show with the Deering Elementary kids, a 2-day art show. It was fantastic. I was kind of one of them and thought, oh, no, this thing's not going to go over well. But showed me what an idiot I was. We had a great turnout at that, and everybody just was very thrilled with it. The art teacher at the school was great, and it was a tremendous event. We've done gardening classes, and we got another gardening class coming up, and we've actually had 2 gardening classes. We got the Gardening 102 type class, and that's the extension office helps us with that.
Right.
The next gardening class is scheduled for January the 30th, and that's through the extension office. We do ask for everybody to get registered on that, and we'll put it out on our Facebook page. It works better at that class if you can keep it to about 25. It just gives everybody a little bit more room to spread out. But Sarah handles all that and does a great job with that. And then in February the 6th is at 7 o'clock. Everything that I'm talking about pretty much is happening at the community center.
Okay.
February the 6th at 7 is the Augusta Locally Grown Vendor class that's coming up. And then we will have the annual cleanup day that we do here for the residents in Deering on the 23rd. And then our annual Easter egg hunt, which is always a huge turnout. Last year we got rained. We didn't get rained out. We got rained into the gym, but it was fantastic. I mean, that was a great event for everybody that came to that. For the circumstances, you would think, oh, this is going to be miserable. It wasn't. It was fantastic. So that was a great event, especially when you get thrown a curveball, but they knocked it out the park on that one.
Right.
So then we once again are having the art show coming up again. It'll be February the 19th from 5 to 7. And then once again, already scheduled, the Tractors on the Track will be back on May the 11th at the walking track. So those are the ones that were set in stone that we know we're doing. So the other things that we're discussing right now but are not necessarily set in stone, the chili soup and stew cook-off that we used to hold in Deering used to be a great event.
Right. Yeah,
and we used to have a cake auction with that. And Gladys Rogers, God rest her soul, she was the driving force behind that cake auction. I mean, she could raise more money selling cakes. I ain't never seen nothing like it. But, you know, with her passing and COVID came along and, you know, we just kind of walked away from that event. But it was a great event. It was just a great event. So we're talking about trying to revive that. We're not necessarily sure we're going to make it in 2024, but don't be surprised if we do. But we're working towards it, trying to figure out how do you replace a Gladys Rogers?
Right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You don't replace her. You just find another route.
So find a couple of people to come in.
Yeah, I just don't understand how we're going to do it, but we're working towards it. And very excited in June, we are going to be doing a Juneteenth celebration. Melvin Ransom down at Liberty Temple has been very active, and we've sat down many times and talked about it. He's going to help us get an event together for that. May do something between the walking track and the community center, but we're certainly going to be at the community center doing something. Me and Melvin got to sit down and finish up all the details on that. But as soon as we get all that, you know, we'll get all that out too. And then one thing I did forget about was the ice cream social that we had. I think that was the opening weekend of school this past year. And I don't know about y'all, but I ate so much ice cream, I thought I was going to puke over there. So I felt it was my job to sample all the ice creams and all the toppings. I didn't want anybody getting sick. So,
yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, we're doing that again too. So, you know, there's a lot going on. It looks nice to have stuff going on at the walking track and show everybody that, you know, we are trying to bring everybody together. That's been my main goal, and I said that since I came into office. My focus has never been on Deering, not just the city limits. It's, you know, you're talking about 540 something people, but it's the Deering area. I mean, it's people all out in Pea Ridge, all on this end of the county. I mean, we're all Deering people. And while some of the stuff that they come and ask me for, I don't have any control over, I'm happy to go talk to the commissioners and try to help everybody. But we're all one big group down here, and that's what I want to bring everybody together and do. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the National Night Out.
Right.
That is probably our biggest event, and it's always super successful. And the sheriff's department is just, you know, they do everything. We really don't do anything on that. I might flip some burgers or something just for a picture. I don't know if y'all seen they got my picture in the paper, but yeah, I didn't do anything that day, just so y'all know. But that's a great event. That's just a good time. That's been I don't know how long we've been doing that. How long has that been? It's been years.
I mean, I know back when we were in the newspapers 30 years ago almost, or 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
You were doing it then.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really been, that's one thing that we look forward to. I like all of them that you come up and it's 2 or 3 hours and then you're done. Everything's cleaned up and it's done. Yeah. And it's easier too. And you get more volunteers, especially if you start doing something and dragging it out all day, it makes it tough on everybody. And, you know, the events committee meeting is very short. We try to keep that thing well under an hour, trying to be respectful of people's time and trying, you know, you go have a committee meeting and it lasts 2 hours and, you know, nobody wants to come out for that. So we try to do everything, being mindful of people's time and, you know, we do the best we can do with what we got. But I think everything is going real well right now. We're real pleased with the events committee and all the participation we've been getting. So,
a lot of activities.
Yeah.
And, but talk to us a little bit about, aside from the activities, are there any big projects in the works on the city side of things?
Well, yeah, there's two. The farmers market is the biggest that's you know, that you can almost reach out there and touch. It's the closest one. There's still a little bit of work left to do to get it to where we can apply for the grants, but it's a tangible one. And Jason and I, we had one round of grants that we made it, I think, through one round and got bumped at the next. But it's a good project. The CSRA RC loved the project and they picked it up. And we're excited about it because I really do think there's a high probability of getting that one done.
Okay.
There's one other one though that Archway did accept, and this was one of my harebrained ideas. You know, I've got family in San Antonio. We go to San Antonio a lot. And one of the hotels we stay at, walk out the back door, and there is this most wonderful trail out there. It's very similar to the one in North Augusta, the Greenway Trail in North Augusta, but it's a multi-purpose trail. You can jog, you can ride a bike, you can walk, whatever. But I've got this harebrained idea that I want to see a multi-purpose trail tying Deering and Harlem together.
Mm-hmm.
We're roughly 3 miles, 3.5 miles. So it's not that outrageously far. I've talked to a couple of the senators and representatives, and everybody is very excited about it. Ossoff's office is, you know, they're all on board because they were the first ones. They called me asking, "You got any projects?" And I said, "Well, you know," they kept pounding me. I said, "Well, I got this harebrained idea. You want to hear this?" And they were like, "We love it." They like to see the cooperation crossing county lines,
right?
And so the archway, Jason, you can pick up on this because you attend more of those meetings than I do, but I believe that project did get accepted to going up the food chain.
Yes, and it has been there. We talked about it a little bit at a meeting today, actually, and we're just waiting on it to kind of pull the trigger and go from there. There should be a group coming down, and they're super excited about it.
That's one of the upper level things there. That one raised a bunch of eyebrows and got a lot of attention. Now, how you paying for it, who's paying, I don't have a clue on that, but you got to start with an idea, and then once you pick up on the idea, then you can worry about all the details later. But I thought, you know, that'd be great because we've got nice restaurants here, they've got restaurants down there, and really and truly a 3-mile one-way walk, or if you're into any kind of fitness, if you're walking or jogging or even bicycling, you know, 6-mile round trip, that's nothing. And right now, you know, you really can't do that along Highway 78. It's certainly not safe for anyone.
Right.
So, you know, I'm cautiously optimistic. And this is one of those projects. That's one of those where the farmers market, maybe we're looking at, you know, maybe 2 years, probably about right. Somewhere by the time we get the numbers back and get grants and get funding. That other one's going to be a while. Hopefully I won't be dead before then, but you never know. But I thought it would just be fantastic. I mean, it's kind of exciting when I ride to Harlem and you look and go, hey, and some of it's like easy. It's like, oh, that's real wide. It won't be nothing to pave. And then you get some of them areas going, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not an engineer having to figure this out. So
right.
Pretty exciting though. Other than that, we finished up a major water line. I say major, it was major to us because I know we had several residents on South Railroad Street that fell behind Axon's, and went behind Sutton's Towing and all that over there. That water line was dirt. I mean, you touch it, it'd fall apart. It was well over 40 patches on that road, and we used some of our rescue funds. Not some of them. We used all of them and then a little bit. But we finally have that water line replaced. So that's great. We got better fire protection over there. We got the water cleaned up, and hopefully we won't have, you know, a dirt road with all the patches in it anymore. So we've got one little piece of it to finish up, but everybody's being served off the new line right now. So that was a good project to get done. I know it didn't serve that many people, but it sure fixed a big problem.
Yeah.
So I know that another project that we've talked about in Archway and some other locations has been the land application system for your sewage here in the town of Deering. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Tell us where we're at with that, why it needs to be done. I
can speak on that a little bit. As y'all know, though, the system was sold out. We consolidated all the debt between Thompson, Deering, and the county. And so that haven't been done. That's why I'm not as knowledgeable about it. But I can tell you real quickly why it's got to be done. The system, when it was put in, was a 20-year system. That means the life of it was 20 years. Well, we're operating into the 23rd, maybe 23rd year, somewhere in 23, 24 years on that system now. So we've had a meeting with EPD. We got a letter from EPD. It was not a consent order, but said, hey, we need to meet with you. So we go down there and have a long talk with them. It went well, but you know, we're kind of on the clock now. We're 3 years past due on a system. They were kind of they were actually a little bit nicer to us than what we thought they would be, but you know, we knew that there was a problem. We have been addressing the problem and trying to come up with, you know, correct solutions. Unfortunately, it looks like the correct solution, or the only real solution, is scrap the whole system and go to a whole different one. Right now, it's a drip irrigation type system, and they're needing to go to probably a spray field. So that means probably a little bit more land acquisition, and but yeah. And the biggest problem too is, you know, we are primed for growth. Harlem's right down the road. They're busting at the seams. It's coming this way, and it's coming to Deering before the rest of it. We don't really have a whole lot of capacity left on that system, so we need, not only do we need a new system, we need a system that will hold more users. So yep, there you go.
Thank you again for joining us today and telling all the listeners about what's been going on in Deering. Can you real quick, if anybody wants to get involved with some of these activities, or maybe even come to a city council meeting, you tell them how to do that?
I can do all that very easily. Our city council meets on second Monday every month, 7 o'clock at the community center. We moved over to the community center. It's just a little bit more room than City Hall over there. The events meeting, it's been bouncing around just a little bit. It looks like we've landed on the third Mondays at the community center. We tried to start at 6:30 on those. And listen, these meetings are open to anybody and everybody. And not only that, we encourage people to come. If you want to know what's going on in your city, the best way to know what's going on in your city is to be at the meetings. I mean, we do what we're required to do by law and publish everything like we're supposed to. But if the listeners are not reading the newspaper or listening to the radio, you know, that's their chance to be informed by coming to the meetings.
Right.
Oh, and the other thing that we are with our new assistant clerk, she is fantastic about keeping the Facebook page up to date. She is posting all the time, and she will post all those meetings and all our events, and everything that's going on is available on Town of Deering Facebook. We don't have a website up and going right now, but nobody's looking at websites anyway. Everybody's on Facebook. So hit us up. All the information you need, all the way to get in contact with us and everything right there. Everything's pretty much on that Facebook page.
Well, thank you again for talking to us today. And of course, thanks to our listeners for logging on and tuning in. As always, we hope you continue to find ways to get involved in something good happening here in Deering or anywhere in McDuffie County. By doing so, you can help make your community a reflection of you.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the McDuffie Minute. When you get a chance, take a minute and learn a little bit about McDuffie County and visit the great town of Deering.